actually going to throw a curveball at you on this one, because we talked a lot about kind of allowing yourself to adapt to a different timeline than what's presented to us. And in my head, all I could hear was, yeah, but what about the 30-year-olds that just are not moving out of their parents' house? Wouldn't it be helpful to have that pressure to like live up to a different timeline?
So I think that comes from a place of, if you're feeling insecure, I would say, I'm going to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I would say check in with yourself. Is this from a place of insecurity? Is there anxiety? I think anxiety is such a driving force in our society that it can cripple some people and some young people to know, like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah.
My parents seemingly have this like house and structure, and I'm just going to stay here where it's safe. And I think in some ways, the parents of those 30-year-olds may not be doing them any favors by coddling that. It may be important for them to say, hey, we have apparently not done you any favors to help you grow as an adult. What are some ways that we can help support you to strive towards this success so that you're taking these big steps as an adult and looking forward?
So I mean, what I hear in that is that everything we talked about in the main episode of being able to create your own timeline and incorporate your values in that still stands. But particularly in a situation of failure to launch, it might have to mean that you are setting up some timeline milestones. You're presenting some goals that you're trying to achieve and having people around you who are going to support you in moving to the next thing rather than just kind of staying back. Because I remember moving out of my parents' house and be like, oh, like everywhere I go doesn't just come with a toaster. Like I have to go buy like little things like that where I was like, man, like how do you even collect this? And realizing that's how.
Yeah. I think too, I think even sometimes having a little bit of fear and a little bit of anxiety can be helpful. And I know that seems counterintuitive to us as counselors, but it can be that driving force to survive. Survival is sometimes handed to us. And I come from a generation, and I get it. Like I get, if you're at home and you're sitting in your parents, if you're sitting in your childhood bedroom, and you're watching this, and just know that there's no judgment from this, but life has its fears and its anxieties, but it's also integrating opportunities and resources and making connections can be, it's a risk, but that risk can be outweighed by the benefit of living a life with intentionality. There's several times when I feel like I get to be the unhelpful therapist. And this is one of those phrases that I think fits in that idea of unhelpful therapist. I think it's really a balance of there's some benefit to having this timeline that is pushing you and causing you to feel the due date of some of these life milestones. And there's benefit from allowing the timeline to be infused with your own values and set up by you. And I think if we go to one over the other, there's an imbalance of that where we fall into feeling crushing weight that things beyond our control are preventing us from achieving the timeline, and crushing weight of fear preventing us from setting up ambitious goals for ourselves. And so I think finding a balance, this middle ground of where is that timeline actually helpful in pushing you, and where is it unhelpful in discouraging you from moving forward? Yeah, I think I like what you said. I think if I'm hearing like the client, who's kind of like asking this question, it's like, okay, we need to break this down into manageable bite-sized pieces, and that's okay. sometimes when you have this like broad view of all the things that you want to get done and all the things that you want to accomplish, and you step out of your parents' house and it just feels like the world is just, has this vortex of all the things that you have to do and achieve and to be successful. But let's just take one step in front of the other foot. Like you just keep walking, and you walk to the next thing on your list. Like if it's updating my resume, if it's looking for jobs throughout, a certain radius of where you want to live.
Yeah.
It's kind of just taking one step at a time. And maybe you're working at a part-time job for a year, but then you're saving money. You're working towards that goal that you will eventually get there.
Yeah.
But it takes a risk. It takes some action.
Yeah. I think the last thing that I want to say, and I'll give you opportunity to say something too, is I know a lot of people in my life, particularly young women right now, who feel like they've almost like missed the bus of they were supposed to be married and starting their family by now. And, the pickings have been slim and there just hasn't been either opportunity or the ability to move forward in those goals. And I think that can be so withering of our spirits. And I think there's real beauty to just being able to allow yourself to be where you are now and to know that the things we're talking about, a lot of it is like the internal, like, am I actually pushing towards this or am I not pushing towards this? And I think in those situations, being able to recognize, yes, you are pushing towards this. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with like, you're not trying or you're not doing enough. Like, I think all of those are lies. And so just allowing yourself to be where you are in your timeline and to patiently await and to expectantly await. And also it's okay to set up different milestones on the way or to pursue different ones and have them feel out of order almost.
Yeah. I want to say too that kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, how there could be this direction or this value that you really wanted, but with life, sometimes it doesn't go in that direction. So how can you develop a more open posture and open hand to experiencing other things? Because your life, you as a person have meaning. You as a person have a lot to offer, wherever you are, as far as, I haven't been married or I'm married and I have kids, or even if you're a single male individual who is, wanting to also settle down and have this life to be a provider or to be a supporter of their partner, and they are stay-at-home, father and so forth. But I think that we can get kind of caught up into this world of like, how can we live our life with fullness and feeling grounded and feeling like we're adding value, or we are valued because we have all of these things in place. But the reality is we have this kind of wonderful gift in life that we can expand beyond the boundaries of what our parents did and what our grandparents did. But we can, with technology, with all the advancements that we can still live a very fulfilling and all-encompassing great life if we kind of take the risks and step out.
Yeah. So, thanks, Melissa. It was great having you.